Get your Zombie Chronicle posters today. More information in the link in the description down below. Now onto the video. Hey, everyone, Allison Toys, I'm back here for another wonderful video. Today, it just released the comic book at midnight on the 21st today. So actually, it's probably when this goes up like 15 hours old. The comic book number 5 has released, and I will get into the idea and the key points to take away from the comic book itself, but let's talk about the loading screen. Everybody wants to talk about the loading screen first because it's very interesting. It rewrites the Die Rise loading screen. So if you see the Die Rise loading screen, you can see how well it contrasts with the brand new one that is very much this new universe and the building of a better world and all these other factors like that. So look at the Earth, for instance. The Earth, we can see the consequences of our actions and what we've been doing inside the comic books. We've done things differently, meaning Transit and Die Rise don't happen the way we thought they did anymore, or at all. The Earth and Moon's ending hasn't occurred anymore. The Earth is together. We're slowly repairing and getting this perfect world. We're getting everything together. You also see that Transit itself, the card that sticks out, is now dark compared to when it was light. And I don't know if that's another sentiment saying like Transit doesn't exist anymore, neither does Die Rise. In the Die Rise loading screen, we go from the United States in the Green Run facility, or actually Colorado, somewhere in there. It's very central, all the way to somewhere in Asia, right? And that's where we're supposed to land in the Great Leap 4, and it's going to be China and all that stuff. Instead, it looks like we're somewhere in Eastern Europe in the new loading screen, and we are traveling to what looks to be Southern United Kingdom. So this might tie into Dries and Drock with the newspaper and the London connection. So maybe because we're changing time, that's changing where the zombies show up in London and whatnot that we did, and that Easter egg. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google around the Dries and Drock Easter egg. I'm sure I have a video, it's the plunger Easter egg linked around. It's interesting because they did remove that Easter egg when it was showing up in Max's office without doing anything. So why would they remove that and maybe bring it back for later on in the comic books? It's something they could play with. Once again, we have those crows or ravens we constantly see all throughout the maps and on loading screens and stuff like that. So I find that fascinating that those are, again, a symbol above the house where our 4 characters are approaching the house in the perfect world. And of course, the elephant in the room, what is going on with our characters? They seem to be teleported very similar to the Great Leap Forward. So that means a Maxis, a Monty, some omnipotent power probably teleported them, or they use the same means of teleportation with them to put them in front of the house. But we have an Ultimis Richtofen, or possibly just some version of a baddie Richtofen on top of the other 3 characters, where they look to be Primus, Dempsey, Takio, and Nikolai. Very clearly, it is not Takio from any of the previous versions. That is our Origins-looking Takio. But it also could be some version of a multiverse. Something to keep in mind. I find it fascinating. Why would Richtofen be the only one different? Now, a couple people were suggesting, hey, this could be Richtofen's 2-year journey while he was out and about. This is what happened to our characters. And I'm not so sold on that, because in the radio with Monty, when he talks about Gersh fighting alongside our characters, it's the Ultimis crew, and he wouldn't be in Richtofen's body. Now, the next step is that possibly Samantha stuck in Ultimis Richtofen's body getting teleported there? Now that's interesting. That could be something there. Maybe that Ultimis Richtofen has to fight alongside the other guys in some other universe. Is this a buried endgame where Richtofen breaks the cycle? Not likely, because right now that's probably going to be something that branches off in the future. I love how they're rewriting the comics, and again, I know people are going to point this out because they probably haven't seen this before if they just started in Black Ops 3, but that outline is of a person on the right side of the book there. You can actually see a face there, and that was, again, in Die Rise. It was still there. Now, you might ask, wait a minute, what is the previous page? The previous page wasn't ripped. Well, that would be the Nuketown loading screen, but it's not the revised Nuketown loading screen, it's the original Nuketown loading screen. So I don't know if that was a mistake on Treyarch's part or intentional to say Nuketown still happens as it did, but the remake loading screen happens later on in this book, maybe. And then you also have the next page being the Kino remake screen, showing you again that our actions have completely changed time, where, as you see in the new loading screen with Kino, it's all good now. It's all happy, and it starts with the giant and killing Ultimis Richtofen and changing time in our little book. So I love how the comic book's still teasing us at future maps and stuff like that. Not in this instance, but it's still following that old passion of what it used to be. And we don't know if the book is actually thinning out. The comic could be coming to an end inside this universe, something that has been a staple in zombies since Black Ops 1 in Dries. World at War a little bit when they started teasing the blueprint and they started making it this comic. comic book. I really like what they did, changing history with all the previous original World at War maps and bringing it all back to the Giant and connecting it to Black Ops 3, and we're still moving forward. That's something that we all understand, that it's still going forward in time the way the events are happening, but it's not linear time. 1931, 1932, 1933 doesn't quite happen. You're going back and forth from like BC to over here, 1940s, 2035. But the way our characters are experiencing this, or the way the order of these are going, is still a linear storyline. It's complicated, but it's part of the fun of zombies. I mean, if you don't enjoy this stuff, that's kind of where it's at. And it's fascinating to see where this is gonna go. We have one more comic coming out in August that is gonna be the end, and that's supposed to be gonna be our connection or bridge into whatever's next in zombies. The next game should be coming out in a year from November, so they still got about a year of development to change things around. I'm sure they're pretty hardcore into it at this point, but it is amazing to see how much is being put into it. Now, some of the things I do want to touch on in the comic itself is that the fragile world where they were hiding the Chronorium is falling apart. Max has tried to hide it inside Zero Base, inside this fragile, empty Earth, which is fascinating. We also have these new zombie cyborg things that are super duper strong. We might see those in future games. I hope the gameplay continues to evolve. I think we've gotten so story heavy that with the new hardware on PS4 and Xbox X, hopefully Treyarch can now optimize the game to push those gameplay mechanics. Stu needs everyone. There's a quote in there how he starts talking about he needs everybody. That's still for the blood vials is my theory on that we end up needing the Transit character's blood later on. They got to get the Chronorium to Richtofen, but he needs all of them. So why does he need all of them? I think it's for those blood vials under Mob of the Dead where they're on ice. That will be most likely in the last comic. And then weird evil zombie that's probably Richtofen, some version of Richtofen, is still following them, still smiling, still thinking. It's super strange to see this weird version of Richtofen or some zombie with intelligence following our characters around. I don't quite understand it yet, but it is fascinating to see how that's going on. And then it was weird to see the zombies killing one another. The cyborgs were fighting the other zombies. So we've only seen that maybe like with Turned and stuff like that, but typically the zombies don't fight one another. So that was another little detail that I think was interesting to bring up inside the comic. I don't read the whole comic because I want you guys to purchase it and support the artists that do make these. Reading it and posting it online kind of hurts their business like you can't believe. Drawing and artists do not get paid anywhere close to Activision money or any of that type of stuff. So when you sit there being like, Activision doesn't need any more money, it's supporting Dark Horse in the comic book industry when you actually purchase these. So that's why I'm not going to sit here and do a reading of it. Anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts on the loading screen itself, the changes, the other loading screens, and what you make of it all. I'm Ronaldson27. If you enjoy this, please subscribe. Leave a rating, too. It helps out the videos, and there will be so much more content to come. I have all kinds of things in store for you, so be excited. Check out the Patreon if you want to support these videos and make sure they keep coming. Links in the description down below, and I do have a poster sale going on right now. We have brand new Zombie Chronicle posters that we just released, celebrating the Easter eggs on each of the maps, plus all kinds of the previous posters. Perks are back. Go check them out at radrendering.com for more information where you can purchase them and when they'll be sent out. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.